Hello, and welcome to the Chateau Chronicles. I wanted to give you a little update because Tomas has been busy. So he's cleared out the horse stable, I don't know what you call it, the horse cave. We're trying to figure out how to mitigate the water in there. He had an idea of putting in a fountain, which is pretty funny. He's taken a picture of the ginkgo tree for me because I knew I was going to miss it turning bright yellow. And sure enough, it's turning bright yellow. And yeah, he's cleared out the stairs, which I love. It's gorgeous, but I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to do it myself because it would have been really satisfying, and I wish I had it on video. It would have made a good video. But anyhow, I'm sure I will need to do it again. And then he's starting to dig out the cement basins, kind of catch basins. And he's found a few cracks in them, but nothing too serious. So they're all cement and beautiful. So I'm kind of excited about that. He's done a few other things, like put some spotlights into the bathrooms. And that will be really handy for being able to see what we're doing in those bathrooms, because the lighting was pretty obtuse in there. And I think he's finally gotten me set up as well with internet, which has been kind of a nightmare. So that's going to be very exciting when I get back to have internet that works without having to carry around a little 4G spot thing. So anyhow, I will pass myself onto myself, and I'm going to tell you all about taking Chloe back and forth from France. So, on to me. Hello, I am reporting here from a snowy Seattle, unusually snowy Seattle. So, I have had many responses on my poll to figure out what I'm going to vlog about while I am not in France. So, it seemed Chloe was the sort of the winner, but I'll probably touch on all of the topics. And I thought that you guys might also be interested in knowing a little bit about this old firehouse that I stay in. So I'll start with Chloe. So taking her back and forth from France is actually not as complicated as you might imagine. I think a lot of people think that there's sort of quarantines and that kind of thing, but there aren't. So really the biggest issue is the airlines, and every airline has its own rules. So with Chloe, because she's a Boston Terrier and has a flat face, the rules are a little more stringent. But because I take her with me in a bag and stick her under the seat, it's kind of less of an issue, but they still require a health certificate from the vet. So that was sort of step one. I'm supposed to have a health certificate within 2 weeks of traveling. And so I take her to the vet, and with that certificate, I then have to get it approved by the USDA. So it's a form that I just send off, and it comes back within like a week, and just a stamped form. And so that really is essentially what you need. So obviously they have to have their all their immunizations up to date, particularly rabies. And I think they also must be chipped. So she's had all that. And so it was pretty easy. And to be honest, I took her to the vet in July, and I just traveled with the same documentation when I went in October. So I didn't get another certificate done, and nobody seemed to question it. So that was good. I'm kind of rarely asked for it. Mostly it's just when I check in. So it's not a big, huge problem. The next issue, of course, is the bag. And I actually had a second bag, a bag that, here, I'm trying to show you the bag, but I guess I have to turn the camera around. Hang on. How do I do that? Not so easy. All right, looks like it's gonna make me stop the camera before I can turn it around. Unless I just switch it this way, go slowly. Okay, so there's the bag. And this is the second bag I've had. The first one was just a little too big and it didn't kind of squish down well under the seat. The beauty of this one is that I can turn it this way when it's under the seat, and then she just lies on it this way. And she actually really likes it. As you can see, she's kind of curious right now. She thinks we're going to France. When we're in the airport, she actually climbs in there and snuggles in, all excited to have her own little spot. And then I've discovered that initially I would, as soon as we got off the plane, I would take her out and then put her on a lead and walk her. But this past time when I got off in Seattle, I just left her in there. It just seemed easier to carry her. And oh my God, she was like the Queen of Sheba walking, like she literally was lying in the bag with her little arms crossed. And so it was pretty funny. Anyhow, so that's the big story. That's what it takes to take her to France. And then in France, I have left her some food, which I'm able to get her exact same food. And so that's kind of cool. And I put it all in the freezer so that the mice wouldn't get it. And yeah. All right, so on to the Firehouse. So this is my Firehouse. And it was a firehouse that was decommissioned in 1971. It was originally built for horses. And in fact, here, there was a fireman who came with, he kind of drops by every now and then because he finds different pictures and stuff. And so he brought this picture, this latest, maybe this one's better, a little bigger, so it's probably glaring at you with all the light. So this is what it looked like in its day with the horses. So it's a Tudor-looking house. It was built to blend in with the community because it's in a very residential neighborhood. And obviously it was built for horses. And at the time, I think he explained that this was actually, they had a chemical engine for a while, but this is actually a pumper engine. And he explained it all, but it kind of went over my head. Anyhow, so we are standing right now in the apparatus bay. And so that door goes out to the street, obviously. You can see our little pandemic gym here. And I'm trying not to say get a lot of comments about how often I say So the horses were in stalls that were here. You can kind of see these beams that separated each of the stalls. And the way that the station worked was that there were gates in front of each stall, and the horses were led into their stall with their heads facing this way. And when the alarm went off, the gates would automatically open and the horses were trained to walk through. And you can see on the floor where it's grooved was to give the horses and the trucks traction. And then this, where it's flat, is where the engine sat. And so the horses would walk out and place themselves in their places in front of the engine. And then in the ceiling is where the harnesses were tied, and they would drop down onto the horse's back. And then I don't know if you can see, but there's a hole up there, and that's where the pole was. There were actually two poles. There's another hole up here in this corner. And so the officers would slide down the poles and clip the horses into their harnesses, and then they'd be off in apparently 32 seconds. So they were really disappointed when the truck technology came into being, and suddenly they had to wind up these trucks, and it took them much longer to get out of the door. And so they all complained about having to switch from horses. So it's kind of a cool old place. This wall was put in here by the previous owner, so it was not original. So this would have all been open to the stairs there. I don't know if you can see. And here, I'll give you another quick picture. Here's the stairs. We put heated floors under here and tiled it. So this is the hallway that goes back to the stables room. We call it the stables room. I can take you back there. It's now Olivia's room. but it's where the horses would come in and be washed and fed. So it has old barn doors. And then my ex-boyfriend bought Carter, this was originally going to be Carter's room, and he bought Carter this little motorcycle. And after they got it kind of fixed up, he thought it would be fun to hoist it up here as a decoration. And there it stays, because it's never going to be, I don't think it's ever going to be able to leave there, because I have no idea how I'll ever get it down. So anyway, this was the horses' stable. And you can see in the ceiling up here they had a ladder going up here to the hayloft above. And then down here is another hole where they would drop the hay and the food down. There was a big, I think the sink, well, there was a big drain here, so I'm not sure. I think there was a sink there. And then this is the door, the original doors where the horses would come in. And then they would be led into their stalls here. And then in the hall, you can see here that this was actually a stall, and they had to put a metal casement around the window frame because the horses would chew on the wood. And you can see there's places here where they've chewed, and you can see the lintel there where it's all been chewed. Originally, I thought it was all rotted, but then I realized, having been a bit of a horse girl myself, I recognized that as horse chewing. And there's actually another place over here where the horses have also chewed the window. And we thought it was so cute that we decided to leave it and just paint over it, just so that it was such a cool feature of the house. Anyhow, I have one more picture I can show you to show how the harnesses worked. These are these wooden wooden antelope and beasts, and I bought those in Bali and had them shipped over. So they're sort of a decoration. Anyway, I digress. So this is how, I hope I'm getting all of this into the frame, but this is how the fire station worked. This was that back room we were just in, Olivia's room. The horses came in here and were washed and fed. This is the hayloft. This is the horse's stall. This is where they walked out into the apparatus bay. And this is the harness that would fall onto their backs and the poles that they would come down. This is the bedrooms where the firefighters slept. And then this was sort of a common room. It's now our kitchen. And then obviously the bathroom, which is actually still the bathroom. So again, another video of it, another shot of it. Hopefully you're not getting a glare. Here, I'll do it. I don't know how well I'm getting it there. But anyway, it's a cool old place. But now it's my art studio. So hence the messy art studio filled with an explosion of color, which is kind of keeps me going in these dull winter Seattle days where it's often just gray and rainy. I seek color. So yeah, this is the studio. This is where I spend a lot of my time. Anyhow, hope that was a satisfying. I'm going to turn it around again. Hi. So anyway, I hope that is what was satisfying. And now I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of requests for continuing the tour of the firehouse. But for now, I think this will do. Make it short and sweet. Make sure people are interested. I feel sort of guilty about doing a firehouse tour on a chateau channel. But what are you going to do? This is the reality. So next time I'll talk about the visa. I'm sort of in process of that. So we'll see. I don't know how long it's all going to take. But most of the forms have been filled out and submitted. So I'm in a waiting game right now. Anyhow, I guess that's it for now. So, a bientôt.